Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Jade. It is great to have you here. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about my 2026 reading goals and my January TBR. So I'm really hoping to hold myself accountable with my 2026 reading goals. So that's why I didn't want to make a separate video about it, but I did want to include it with my January TBR just to signal like the beginning of the year. And this is going to be my first TBR of the year, which I did not choose using my TBR jar because I realized that I typically don't follow TBR lists because I'm such a mood reader. So all the books that I'm about to show you off for my January TBR are books that like I chose because I felt like I was going to be in the mood for at least one of each of these. But I figured we could start with my 2026 reading goals. I don't have much. I only have 8, which probably feels like a lot, but I don't plan on talking about them too much because they're pretty straightforward. And so my first reading goal on Goodreads, says that my reading goal is 75 books, but on here I put 100 because I'm doing a reading journal, and so I wanted it to be like symmetrical, and so I did 100 books for my reading journal, but officially my reading goal is 75. So I've already read one book this year, but as you can see, it shows 100 little squares. And so if I read over 100, obviously I'm not going to put in more squares, but if I read 70, like let's say 78, and I don't get to 100, that would be okay for me because I think it still looks pretty cute. So officially it is 75, but on my reading journal, it says 100. So my first reading goal of the year is to read 75 books this year. Next, we have, of those 75 books, 20 should be from the handy dandy TBR cart because I've been buying so many books. I cannot tell you how much money I spent on books last year. Me and my mom have made an estimate, and it's just a ridiculous amount of money. And I have all these books, like it's so much that it's overflowing. And so I have all these books and I was like, you know what? This is going to be the year that I tackle my physical TBR. Like I feel like it's very much needed, and it's also, there's books on here that I've had for years. And so I got the TBR cart not only to see my physical TBR, but also sometime this year. I think I got the TBR cart like in October, November. So October/November of this year, I'm going to go through the TBR cart, and books that I've had not read since getting the cart, they're leaving. They're getting unhauled, and I might do a giveaway. Most likely I will do a giveaway over on my TikTok, so go follow my TikTok because I already have a bunch of books put away to give away, and so I want y'all to be able to join that if y'all want to. Look out for that because I think that's going to come sooner rather than later. So my third reading goal of the year, which sounds so silly because this is a subscription, but I want to read 10 book of the month books. I'm a very chronic mood reader that I will be excited for the book of the month books, choose my book of the month book, and then it comes in and I don't read it. You can't see it, but over here is just 4 book of the month books that I have not read that I would like to tackle because I love the subscription so much that I want to keep it. But if I keep it and I'm not reading the books, then I'll have to cancel it, you know? So this is also the year that I'm tackling my book subscription boxes, which I just have the one. So my fourth reading goal is kind of broad, and that's just to try new genres and new authors. I typically read within my comfort zone, so romance, fantasy, and then this past year, 2025, I've been reading a lot of thriller mysteries. So for 2026, I really want to dip back into historical fiction because it used to be one of my favorite genres in high school, and I don't read as much of that genre as I used to. So I want to be able to try new genres and new authors. I don't want to just stick with, let's say Ali Hazelwood's coming out with a book. I don't want to just stick with Ali Hazelwood. I want to try new authors as well. So the fifth one is kind of, for me personally, I want to write a short summary and then stick it at the beginning of each book that I finish, just so that whenever I review books, I remember what it's about, because I feel like I'm not very good at explaining what books are about. Even if I know in my mind what they're about and that I can explain it to myself, I just am really horrible at explaining books. And so I want to write a short summary and then stick at the beginning of each book after I finish them, just to kind of help me retain the information in the summary of it. It's just a little further step than just writing a review. So number 6 is be mindful of the books I buy / use my local library more, because again, it kind of coincides with like wanting to read more of the physical TBRs, because I'm buying so many books that I cannot keep up with them. And then I get so overwhelmed by all the book choices that I have that I just feel like I'm just so overwhelmed that I can't read them. And so I want to be more mindful of the books I buy. And so that coincides with using my local library more, because if there's a book out there that everyone's talking about and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it. I buy the book, turns out it was okay. It was like a 3 stars, 3.5. And I know it's something that I'm not going to get like reread ever again. I just wasted money on that. So that is when the library comes in, and I would actually borrow either from Libby or a physical copy from my library, and we read it. And then if I like it, I'm going to put it, I have a list in my reading journal. It's called Wish List. Actually, it's probably in my personal journal. I have this list in my personal journal, and it's basically all the things that I would like. So it shows item, store, reason. Reason is very important. I didn't put the price, but I think I would put the price within the item or within the store. And basically this just serves as inspiration for my Christmas list and birthday list, because whenever those things come around, my birthday's in June, Christmas is in December. So every 6 months I'm getting a gift or something. People ask me what I want and I'm like, I literally have no clue. But all throughout the year, I'm telling my mom, I wish I was rich because then I would buy this. I wish I was rich because then I would buy this. And so this really serves as my wish list. So like, let's say that there's a book that I like that I borrowed from the library. I'm not going to go out and immediately buy it. Hopefully, I'm going to put it in my wish list so that whenever Christmas and my birthday comes around, I can distribute it to my sisters and my parents. So number 7 is actually one that I'm very nervous about, and that is read one classic. I used to do this back in high school and then like my early college years, which I'm still in college, but like early, right after high school, I would read one classic a month. I read Pride and Prejudice, Little Women, I read Wuthering Heights. I think I did that for 3 years, and those are the only 3 classics that I read like once each year. And I really would like to get back into that, but it's just so daunting because sometimes I feel like I'm not smart enough to read a classic because they just use like an old type of English. I really loved when I did that last time, and I think I have a few classics up there that I have not read yet that I could very much utilize for this goal. And then my 8th and final reading goal, which this one is also to help get me out of my reading comfort zone, is read one translated work. And I don't have much to say about that one because like I said, it's just to help diversify my reading taste. Okay, on to my January TBR. Like I said, this was very much me just picking books off of my TBR cart. I did not use a jar or anything whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get into the first book that I want to read in January, which I already read, and that is Killjoy by Holly Jackson. If you don't know what this book is about, it's a prequel to the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, and this one really showcases Pip and the beginning of her love for solving crimes. This one follows Pip and her friends as they go to a murder mystery party, and she just finds a passion for the clues and the mystery aspect and just like trying to bring the right person to justice. So I really recommend this one. It gave Knives Out vibes. I said it wasn't anything special, but it wasn't bad either, and I did give this one 3.5 stars. But this was the first book that I wanted to read in January, which I already did. Now, if you've watched my TBR videos, you're gonna see this book and you're gonna roll your eyes at me. And please, I beg of you that this is a judgment-free zone, okay? My channel is a judgment-free zone. And so the second book that I hope to read in January is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I still do not know what this book is about. It was advertised to me as a dystopian enemies to lovers, I think, a dystopian romance. And the back says, up here it says, in the first book of a sizzling dystopian romance series, psychic gifts are a death sentence and there are rules to survival. Trust no one, lie to everyone, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. I like going into my books blind, which I feel like really shoot me in the foot sometimes, because then I have this expectation for them and then I read them and I'm like, oh, this is actually so not what I thought this book was going to be. But I truly think that I'm going to get to this one this month because the second one's coming out soon, and I need to get on my Zoom with this one. And then for this third one, y'all are also gonna roll your eyes at me, but remember, judgment-free zone. Cash by Jessica Peterson. I used to love cowboy romances, okay? I feel like I've definitely fallen out of that, but I've bought the entire series. You can see why one of my plans is to utilize my local library more, but I do have the whole entire series in my collection and I've not even read the first one. I already have my little bookmark in here. See, I already have my little bookmark in here. So hopefully that will encourage me to read this book definitely this month, you guys. Hold me accountable. But if I don't, please don't get mad at me. But I will, so get mad at me. So the fourth book I plan to read is Brimstone by Callie Hart. This thing is huge. Like, it's heavy. It's not quite, I mean, it's about 650 pages, so it is pretty big, but it's like heavy. I actually already started this one. I'm on, I think, chapter 2. I'm about 30 pages into it. And so I do definitely think I'm going to get to this one this month because I'm already 30 pages into it. But if you don't know what this book is about, this one follows our main character, Saris, as she finds herself in the Fae world. She's a human, but she finds herself in the Fae world, and then she gets mixed up in the politics happening over there. And so this one is the second book in that series. I actually don't know how many there's supposed to be, if this is a duology or a trilogy. I guess we'll find out when I finish the book. But I'm hesitant to start this book, but it has been sitting on my TBR, like at the very top. So I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and read it. And even though it is pretty intimidating, I've read bigger books. So let's just get over it, Jade. And so I'm over it, and now we are in the middle of this one. But this was one of the books that I was hoping to pick up this month. Next, we have a book that just came out a few days ago, and that is We Who Would Die by Stasia Stark. I do not know what this one's about, but it says, survive the arena, save my brothers, kill the emperor. 2 vampires stand between me and my mission. One who shattered my heart, one who torments me at court. Let the games begin. Pretty spray nudges. But I'm excited to read this one, and I do think I will very much give it a chance this month. So this is also one that I would hope to read. And then last but very much not least, we have All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 3rd installment of the Natural series. I think there's only 4 books in it and maybe 1 novella. And I'm so excited to read this one because I love the Naturals. This was one of the books that was very popular when I was in high school, like an OG booktuber's favorite book, and I just cannot believe I have not read this book. Like, I cannot believe it's taken me this long to read these books, because these ones, if you don't know what the Naturals is about, it's basically Criminal Minds, but if they were teenagers. Say less, whenever COVID hit my junior year of high school, I only watched Criminal Minds. I binge watched that show. And so this one is just so good. I'm so excited to read this one. All In. I cannot believe I'm almost done with the series. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I've been dragging my feet with reading this one in particular, is because I'm going to be so sad. Yeah, I'm going to be so sad whenever this one's over because I'm just having such a grand old time with them. But those are my 2026 reading goals, and these are all the books that I hope to read in January. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you liked this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.